Hello, beautiful people, and welcome. Welcome back to my house here in Salamina. Some months ago, I did a house tour, and I don't know how, but I forgot to include my little studio. I make jewelry, and I have a small studio, and I totally forgot it. I wouldn't have even realized that except my friend Patricia, thank you Patricia, said, what about the studio? So today we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna do a little tour of my studio. So let's go. So here we are in my studio. It is an all-purpose room. It's Sherry's room, it's the guest room, and it's my silversmithing studio. So let's take an in-depth tour. First, a little bit around the room tour. This is looking out the back of the house. The view is of the mountain. And hi, here am I. So that gives you around the room view. First, let's take a look at the workbench. Now, both this bench and this bench, which is the soldering station, facility built for me. The most important thing in my studio for me is this. This is a pendant drill. And with this, I used to work with a handheld Dremel drill, which was very heavy and clumsy. And once I got this, which these is wonderful, these just change. This is an Italian head I have on here. And I can change these pieces to whatever, maybe I'm ready to grind. This will grind off edges. These are sandpaper, so these are different grits of coarseness, and I can tell by the back this one is the red one, so that's the most coarse. And there's more, but I find I only need those three. So, and then odds and ends pieces here. But yes, my pendant drill is really, that was my big game changer. So what else do we have here? What else we have here is all of my pliers. Now these I've had from the very beginning when I was only doing cold connections. In other words, I didn't use any fire. So these I've had since then. This is a bent nose, duh. Flat nose, half round, cutters, all the various things I need. I don't think there's another plier that I really need. Bits and bobs here. These I use a lot because we have a lot of tiny little pieces. Up here, I am using a magnetic knife rack to hold all my files. Very, very handy. And here I have a couple of my stamps, my Hallmark stamps, my AD for Aegean Dreams, which I designed. Okay, over here we have, this is a mandrel. There are many mandrels in silversmithing. This is a bracelet mandrel, and I don't know if you can make out, but I have marked the places where a certain length of bracelet would fit, a length of metal to create my bracelet. And then what you're using when you're working with this is a plastic hammer like this. So the piece might be on here. So with this, I can make it curved, but without marking the metal. So that's a bracelet mandrel. I also have ring mandrels. Now here, this is a steel block. Every jeweler has one. Mine is small. And these are my main hammers. This is to flatten and strengthen. Metal, when you work it, gets harder. So like if I'm doing these jump rings, I would be to harden them before I'm going to then solder where the separation is. Now this is a ball peen hammer, and this I use also to flatten, but it will also spread the metal as I do it. But I use this end to give texture. I don't know if you can see that. So, and then we have the bench pin. This is a bench pin, and the bench pin I would be using with my saw, so I can get the saw blade through and work this way. And up here we have my bulletin board, things from different people. My friend Dorothy, this is from Dorothy. Hi Dorothy. And this is from a house sitter who stayed here and did a pencil and watercolor drawing of our house. He did a pretty good job, I think. So, oh, and I should also point out, I'm short, so I have this footrest that Vasily made for me. So, that takes care of the desk. Now we'll look at my soldering station. This was my next step on my jewelry, using torches. And Dorothy, who did those artwork that I just showed you on the bulletin board, is the one who encouraged me to do it. I was worried about working with fire, and she said, you can use those little creme brulee torches. I was like, yeah, really? Anyhow, these are my torches. I have two. They're bigger than a creme brulee and stronger. But they do the job for me so far. I haven't encountered anything that I couldn't manage. Sometimes a piece is very large, well, relatively speaking large. We're talking about jewelry here. And you have to have the whole piece hot before the solder will flow. So sometimes I'll have to use two torches together. And I feel like a mad scientist when I'm doing it. In here I have my different solders, hard, medium, easy. You have to use them in the right order, so when you do the second solder join, you're not melting the first one. Here is pickle. Pickle is a mild acid, and it's used to take the flux off and the after soldering. And this is just water to cool the piece after I solder it. And that is the, oh my God, we need it. So far, thank goodness, we have not ever needed that. And this here is a tripod with a mesh screen on top. So I might use that if I have like a thick bottom and a thinner piece going on top. So I would use that to bring the heat from underneath to melt the solder and not melt the thinner piece. This wonderful Lazy Susan has sentimental reason for me. This sat on my mom's table. My mom and dad have both passed away, of course. It sat on her table in Vero Beach in the middle, and it had a little cute railing around it, and to put napkins and condiments and things like that on. So when I moved here to Greece, I brought it with me. And underneath here, to make everything extremely heat-proof, is a pizza stone. And this is a solder board, vermiculite, and it is fireproof. And this one is a ceramic honeycomb, which is really great. It needs to be replaced. Going tomorrow, I will replace it. And like I can use pins in there to hold things in place, and it really conducts heat well. And then on top of that, I have the charcoal block, which is my favorite. I need a new one of those too, but I use all the edges of it. So you want something that really reflects the heat back up at the piece when you're using it. Oh, and this is flux. I have mine in a powder form, and I add water to it. And flux's job is to keep the metal clean when you hit it with the fire, because if it gets dirty, the solder will not flow and you won't have a good join. And this piece of furniture was an upgrade for me. IKEA, I love IKEA. And it's perfect. It's on wheels and it has these nice shallow drawers, because everything I have here doesn't need the deep drawers. It's useless to me. And this is my silver and metal drawer. I have silver, sterling silver, fine silver, and a bit of gold. I'm just starting to work with gold. The wire is in different gauges. And here I have some tubes for tube setting. And this is scraps here. So whenever I work, I collect the scraps. And then when I go back, like tomorrow I'm going back to buy materials, I will take it and they will give me credit for it against my next purchase. So that's what that drawer is. This drawer is tools. Here's more mandrels. Now this mandrel and this mandrel are merely to get the right size. That's all those are for. I don't hammer on them. But this mandrel is one that I would use with a ring where I'm shaping it. And I would be either shaping it with this, because it doesn't flatten the metal, but it will shape it. Or if I wanted to give a texture, I would be using the ball peen hammer to do the texture. So that's what that is for, which I use. And what else do we have in here? Oh, this is a ring holder. Here's a ring. The ring would sit in there. I would close this, and then I can use this tool is what I would be using to push over this bezel to capture, get in the light, to capture the stone. So that's how this would go. So how about if we take a look at some of the actual jewelry I've made. This is my latest piece. I've just finished this. And it's mahogany colored beach pebbles, some with a quartz. It's quartz going through there. And I found these on the beach on the island of Poros, which is the island south of here that I go to. I don't find these kinds of stones here on Salamina. These are nice and flat, and you can make a bezel easily. And I should tell you, making a bezel on irregular stones like sea glass and pebbles is much more difficult than doing it on gemstones, because the size is not fixed. It changes, the thickness changes. So anyhow, this, I'm really happy with this. I love it. Except I've decided, and I've had some agreement, that the toggle is a little too dainty for the statement of the bracelet. So we're going to make a more hefty toggle. I'm going into the city tomorrow, Athens, to buy some materials, and I will buy some thicker wire. This is a pendant that I've made 3 of these, different ones. This one is a honeybee. So the sea glass is exactly as it's found. I don't change it. I didn't make it into a heart. It was a heart. And I put the bezel around it. And then I cut out the silhouette of the honeybee from the back. So very carefully. I have a lot of patience, so I like doing this kind of work. So then when you have it this way, you can see the silhouette through against your skin or against a sweater. But you could also wear it with a silver side showing. And I should mention this toggle clasp is, I love this as a design piece element. So it makes it very easy to put it on and take it off, and it's a great design element. I've made 3 of those. I've made this one, the honeybee, a dragonfly, and a sailboat I have now. I also did a lotus flower. That one has long been sold. Then we have these 2 rings. Look at this blue. Isn't that amazing? And this is a large one. This is like a size 9, I think, with the beaded wire around it. And this gorgeous teal blue. Very rare color. And the shape, it's high on this side, low on this side. So this ring would have a very organic feel. I mean, all of the sea glass and beach pebbles are organic looking. That's why I like them. And the pieces, because of the irregularity of the material, the pieces have an irregularity to them, which I love. I love jewelry that shows the hand of the maker. It doesn't look like perfect like you find in a jewelry store. So, and this one is slightly adjustable, not just for different size people, but for, I don't know about you, but my finger size changes. So like today, if it's cold, this fits me. Normally this would be too big. So there, I enjoy making rings. These are earrings that were in last year's collection, and I'm going to put them in this year's collection again because they're just so smart and very unique. And I think jewelry is a way a woman can express herself without saying a word. So these are very expressive. And now these are what I call go-to earrings. In other words, you're dressed, you're going out, and you think, oh, I should just up my look a little. Let me grab a pair of earrings. So these would be the go-to earrings. They're not white, as you can see. They're like a pale mist seafoam. And yeah, exactly as I find them. And these were in last year's collection. These I keep in the collection every year. I keep them. This pair, these are lovely because they are so face framing. They just swoop in, not too big. Sometimes I do them also on ear wires, which makes them hang longer, depending on the person. Okay, and then we have this. Do you know what this is? Yes, it's a heart. And this side has the texturing from the ball peen hammer like I showed you. But come and see what this is for. This is a bookmark. Clever, eh? This way, or you can do it with just one side. Very clever. And I have made those also in sterling silver. Well, I think we've covered just about everything. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour today. I enjoyed showing you around, having you here. And if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. That always lets me know, oh, you're doing a good job. Give us more of the same. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I'd love to have you in my group. So thank you and ciao for now.